Mary Talks Relationships presents the selfie as a symptom. The gesture seems harmless, a phone, a smile, a frozen instant. Yet that simple act says everything about our age. The selfie isn't just an image, it's a symptom. It doesn't preserve memory, it produces evidence. Proof of presence has become proof of worth. The image no longer tells a story, it replaces the bond. What we want to capture isn't life, but validation that life still passes through us. It began quietly. Family photos gave way to endless self-portraits. Faces replaced landscapes. In a world built on visibility, to exist means to appear, and to disappear from sight is to vanish. So we post, we adjust, we watch. A teenage girl uploads 10 versions before keeping one, terrified of seeming ordinary. A young man retakes every shot until no trace of fatigue remains. A mother stands by the sea, but photographs herself, not the horizon. She wants to keep the proof of her own image, not of the world. The selfie has become a cultural reflex. Our modern way of saying, I'm here, but that I'm here is no longer affirmation. It's a plea. It exposes a deep anxiety, the fear of existing only if someone looks. The flood of images hasn't eased that fear, it's deepened it. The digital mirror no longer returns the presence of another, it reflects only ourselves. We show up not to be known, but to be noticed. What we receive are not gazes, but signals. Hearts, thumbs, numbers. Not recognition, but measurement. That measurement has become a new addiction. The selfie is our moral barometer. The more reactions, the more we believe we are loved. But love can't be counted. It isn't visible, it's lived. The quick tap of a stranger doesn't replace the slow gaze of someone real, yet we keep chasing it. Each post becomes a test. Am I still interesting? Still seen? Beneath the lightness lies anxiety. Fear of silence, fear of withdrawal, fear of no longer being the center. The logic extends everywhere. At work, we stage our productivity. Office photos, inspiring quotes, moments of focus. In couples, we display affection, choreographed smiles, captioned anniversaries. Among friends, we photograph before we speak. In families, every dinner, every success, every laugh must be captured. We think we're preserving life. We're freezing its shadow. By wanting to record everything, we stop experiencing it. The instant becomes content, not presence. The selfie replaces living traces with controlled ones. Nothing overflows, nothing surprises. Even spontaneity must now be arranged. We no longer show what happens, we show what reassures. We don't share memories, we curate identity. The face ceases to be expressive and becomes a product to maintain. This tension, this fatigue of appearing well, isn't superficial. It shapes who we are. We build ourselves through what we publish, and we end up believing the version we've invented. Yet humans can't live without mirrors. We need reflection to know who we are, but the mirror of screens isn't the mirror of faces. A human gaze confronts, challenges, and deepens. The digital gaze flatters, distracts, and levels. It's a gaze without risk. We control what it sees, and we think we're mastering the relationship. In truth, we're erasing it. To be seen without being known is an illusion of connection. Light without warmth. The selfie offers instant presence, but steals depth. A teenager raised in this reflex learns fast that appearance matters more than experience. He no longer asks, who am I? But yet, how am I perceived? Existence is measured by visibility. Adults follow the same rule. Even institutions and companies do. Everything must show to be believed. Inner life becomes suspicious. Silence looks like absence. We've traded depth for diffusion. Visibility has become truth. And yet, behind this race for reflection lies a right instinct. The desire to be recognized. The selfie isn't evil. It reveals a hunger. Modern man hasn't stopped needing love. He's forgotten where to find it. He seeks it in the crowd's gaze, when it can only be found in one true look. To be seen by everyone is to be seen by no one. The selfie mimics intimacy, but it delivers only an echo. What we've lost isn't beauty, but truth. The selfie shows what we want to appear as, never what we live. It says see me instead of know me. And that is the core of the modern narcissus. Not loving himself too much, but being unable to live his own face without a witness. Our age loves visibility, but fears encounter. We expose ourselves without ever offering ourselves. What we call sharing is usually a careful performance crafted to create effect without risking truth. We've confused transparency with sincerity. We think that showing more means revealing more. In reality, we reveal nothing. We broadcast controlled fragments of ourselves. Exposure has replaced relationship. This confusion is easy to explain. The digital world has changed the meaning of intimacy. Once to open up meant addressing someone, giving trust to a listener. Today, it takes only a click. We show ourselves without mutual gaze, without effort. It's no longer an offering, but a release into the void. A man posts about his vulnerability, but never listens to anyone. A woman shares every detail of her daily life, yet refuses any question. That isn't openness, it's control. We reveal ourselves to avoid being discovered. Showing has become a way to escape being seen. To be truly seen is to be reached, to let someone access what escapes us. Our time hates that loss of control. We want to say everything without ever being read deeply. We confuse communication with communion. Communication transmits, communion commits, and commitment requires surrender and mastery. Exposure lets us stay in charge. I show what I want, when I want, at the distance I choose. But that power kills reciprocity. This refusal to give poisons relationships. In couples, people express much but confide little. They talk about emotions without ever talking about themselves. They say, I feel hurt, never explain why. They say, I need safety, but not from me. Among friends, support and compliments abound, but confrontation is avoided. In families, contact survives without depth. Bonds turn into polite facades where everything circulates except truth. Overexpression doesn't build relationships, it drains them. To show without giving is to speak without connecting. It's to multiply signs without creating encounter. The public image becomes a shining armor. It reflects light but blocks touch. We post our emotions to avoid the vulnerability they entail. We want to be understood without depending, admired without responding. A society where everything is displayed and nothing is exchanged. Even speech is affected. Words once built bridges, now they fill space. We talk to cover silence, not to connect. We tell everything, but nothing is addressed. Conversations repeat themselves. Polite phrases, recycled opinions, emotions treated like content. Language no longer links, it advertises. We communicate as we post selfies. The other becomes an audience, never a partner. This instrumental view of visibility makes people replaceable. When nothing true is given, everything becomes interchangeable. Couples turn into parallel images rather than alliances. Friendship becomes networking. Work becomes a showcase. We have built a world of reversible appearances where one can display endlessly without ever committing. The more we try to affirm ourselves, the more we disappear. It's a paradox worth naming. Never has humanity talked so much about itself, yet felt so unseen. We share our tastes, anger, and wounds, but no one truly approaches. Everyone sees us, no one knows us. It isn't silence that isolates, it's speech without gift. Words only gain weight when they risk something. To speak oneself isn't to explain, it's to engage. It's to let a part of oneself pass into a bond without guarantee of return. True communication has nothing to do with exposure. It's a chosen unveiling directed towards someone. That direction, that movement outward, is what our time has lost. We want to appear deep while staying on the surface. We want to move others without being moved. We want connection without cost. But without offering, there is no love. Without gift, there is no presence. We don't need to be seen more. We need to be met more deeply. What must return is addressed speech. Words that don't aim to please, but to reach. To give isn't to expose yourself to everyone. It's to choose a face, an ear, a heart, and entrust them with something irreversible. Only then does visibility become light. Everything else is just glare. What the world longs for isn't a perfect face, but a living one. After the age of display and self-promotion, the task is no longer to show up, but to be real again. We've wanted to be seen, understood, loved from afar. Now it's time to be present. The true face isn't something you compose. It's something that lives. It appears when you stop looking at yourself and start looking at someone. It doesn't seek attention. It reaches out. You recognize this face by the way it stays. It isn't an image, it's availability. It listens, it responds, it engages. It may be tired, imperfect, marked by time, but it answers. It doesn't adapt to the light, it brings its own. It doesn't capture, it welcomes. In a world drowning in images, such a face becomes a sanctuary, a space where others can exist without performing. It makes no promises, yet it keeps them by simply being present. To recover a true face is to rediscover the slowness of encounter. It means choosing fidelity over visibility, promise over publicity, depth over spectacle. This choice takes courage because it goes against everything our time celebrates: speed, performance, control. But human beings grow in duration, not acceleration. Growth happens in patience, in the quiet confrontation of days. The one who remains steady in relationship becomes a reference point for those adrift. That is the strength of a true face. It anchors others. This simplicity is far from outdated. Beneath the noise of media and screens, everyone still searches for a steady presence. People don't long for heroes. They long for someone who keeps their word, a colleague who stays fair when others cheat, a parent who still listens when life falls apart, a friend who shows up when it's inconvenient. The true face the world awaits is the one that doesn't run from truth or time. That face isn't spectacular. It's formed through work, patience, and constancy. In couples, it appears when one stays even without being right. In friendship, when one keeps calling even through silence. In family, when one supports without reward. These small gestures leave deep marks. Faithful faces don't attract crowds, but they save lives, because they remind us that love isn't a feeling but a strength. That strength isn't domination, it's authenticity. It's the courage to say, I don't know when you don't. I'm here when there are no answers. The true face isn't the one that shines. It's the one that responds, the one that doesn't flee when looked at, the one that can bear both light and shadow. In a world of screens, such a face is rebellion. It refuses performance. It dares honesty. It says, I'm not a character, I'm a person. To be a person today is already something rare. It means rejecting the logic of brands and profiles. It means becoming a source, not a facade. What people expect from you isn't a role, but a reality. In love, in work, in friendship, the same question echoes. Can you be counted on? Are you a steady face, or just a passing image? The world doesn't need more appearances. It needs presence. Not perfect beings, but trustworthy ones. We live in a world filled with voices, but starved of faces. There are opinions, slogans, avatars, but few eyes that connect. To become a face again is to restore the weight of the gaze. The way we look at others shapes them. A true gaze uplifts, a careless one moves. A true face looks without dominating, welcomes without disappearing. It doesn't need to understand everything to love, it just needs to stay. The world will become livable again when each person recovers this simple task, to be a face for someone. Not a profile, not a picture, but a presence. It costs nothing, only loyalty. To be a face is to become a reachable light, to make trust possible again in a world of illusions. You don't need to be admired, you need to be true. The world doesn't wait for stars, it waits for steady human faces, faces that answer when called. Nothing is impossible for those who choose to love.